just be with us tonight as we meet and work together for our citizens and for this great city. Lord, just bless our troops and bless our country and our president. Lord, please forgive us for our sins where we fail you. All these things I ask in your holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
December 17th, 2019, Winfield City Council meeting. First item on the agenda is approve the minutes from the December 2nd meeting. If nobody's got a question how those minutes are written or comments on, I need to ask for a motion to approve those minutes. Motion. Second. All in favor? And the next item on the agenda is a resolution for draft beer sales. If you remember last year, we put in for after the recommendation from the alcohol committee to pass a resolution allowing draft beer sales in the city, and we have to go through the state legislation to do this. That time's coming up again to run that in the paper for so many weeks and days or whatever to be able to get it in the session that's coming up. So I need to ask, is any comments or any motions or any discussion about this? We passed it last year, we just didn't get it in time. We passed the resolution, I think. We got to redo it. We got to pass it again for this time. I need to ask for a motion to pass this resolution number 1252 for allowing draft beer sales in the city of Winfield. Somebody got it voted.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? All right. Y'all will do a copy of this if anybody needs to. I'll pass it around if anybody needs to see how that resolution is written. Like I said, we acted on it last time. We just didn't get it in. It was a week late what we supposed to. That has to be forwarded to.
We'll let you get away with shaking your head. Yes, we were a week late, but y'all cut loose early. Didn't you? Yeah.
I remember the day I called you, I said, well, technically, we may not finish as late as the 17th, but it looks like things are moving faster than expected.
Y'all cut loose early on us.
And we still gotta run it in the paper 4 times,
Yeah.
but we should have time to get all this done, and we could pre-file it, so we can come out of the gate with it and get it done pretty quickly.
I know we're gonna nominate, but there's no, we can go ahead and publish it now. I mean, as long as it's published before it's filed, there's no time limit on how soon before it's filed you can publish it, so there's no publishing it too soon, right? I mean, we'll go ahead and do it now.
So we can go ahead and do it, then the paper will send us, you can just work with the paper, they'll send us a proof of publication. I'll turn that into the House clerk and.
As a pre-file?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll get signed to the local legislative committee, it'll pass through there, and you know how it works, Todd.
Yeah.
Most of the time, lawmakers don't vote on other local bills.
Yeah. So, that was a poorly worded question. We need to go ahead and file it, go ahead and publish it now.
I would think.
Not wait a little bit to start publishing,
Lewis
just
is
go ahead.
sitting here, I'm thinking the Christmas paper is our next, I keep forgetting we've only got one paper a week now. I don't know if it'd be even possible to get it in next Wednesday's paper. So let's say at the earliest it'd be the 31st, maybe as late as the 7th.
Okay.
Let's say it's the 7th and you finish the 28th, then in time you get it down there a week or two later,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, last time the problem was we didn't get it in by the time it ran the paper. Like I said, it got to us, and it takes a minimum of 5 days to get anything passed, and that's rare. You know, so you can't really assume that's gonna happen.
All right. Next item on the agenda is proclamation of support of Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force. Let me read this note here that I've got for this, about this human trafficking. Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force has declared January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and a summit will take place on January 31st, 2020 at the Renaissance in Montgomery. The Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force is asking that you support its awareness campaign by copying, completing, and returning the sample proclamation below. All proclamations will be displayed at the summit. The Alabama Human Trafficking Force was established by House Joint Resolution 270 in 2014 with the following purpose and goal: to combat all aspects of human trafficking, including sex trafficking and labor trafficking, to pursue a comprehensive response to crimes of human trafficking, to coordinate strategies to provide necessary service for victims of human trafficking, to focus prevention efforts to end the demand for human trafficking, and create awareness through education and community initiatives, to develop legislation to prevent, intervene, and treat human trafficking. The task force meets quarterly at the State House, Alabama State House, and the meetings are open to the public. I need to ask for council to, I ask for a motion and a second to adopt this proclamation and to send down to the task force. And a second, all in favor? Yeah, I think that's a bigger problem than what everybody knows. The next item on the agenda is new park hire. We got someone here representing the park board, maybe to.
This was a job that the council posted for a part-time position at the senior center with the bus and helping deliver the plates. Park board interviewed 4 people, 3 in person, 1 by phone. And we have a recommendation, unanimous, to recommend Misty Robertson for that position. She's worked volunteering at the senior center and is very familiar with what goes on down there. So that's the recommendation of the park board.
Based on the park board's recommendation, I'm asking for council if they would go under that recommendation and vote for motion and second to make this hire Misty Robertson. Jimmy made a motion.
I'll make it.
Second. All in favor?
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is James Lake, the census. You got anything on this?
He's not gonna be able to make it.
I think you sent me that from you, did you?
He's gonna try to make it at the next meeting. He was stuck in the airport.
Oh, yeah, he hung up at the airport. She said he's gonna try to make it to the next meeting. Let me touch on it just a little bit, which I'm sure he will touch on it even more, how important the census is. That they're really pushing real hard to get a correct census and to get everybody to, a lot of people don't want to fill out a census for whatever reason. But it's very important to fill out, to get the census done and done right in our area because of tax dollars, that basic tax dollar that comes in from Washington and state, different areas based on how our population and different things are in certain areas. And I'm seeing flyers at different places where they're, and they'll come in the mail to one place that I can't remember where I picked, I've seen it, where they're asking for people to volunteer to help do the census, and I actually think it pays. I think they pay them. I think it's paying to do it. But if you know anybody that might be willing to do that, which is, I'm sure that's kind of what this guy. You familiar with James Lake? This guy? Anybody? You familiar with him?
I think, well, I bet him, but I don't know him that well, but I think it's like $14 an hour or something.
Yeah. That might be, something if you know somebody that's kind of doing something to, if they can get these censuses filled out, that if they're not afraid to go knock on the door and get shot or whatever. We need to really try to, I can see where it'd be hard to get the correct sentence. You know, it means a lot for us, what we get in funding if we get this, if we do our part, you know. That's just like getting money from the governor. If our area don't vote on a certain thing, we may not get the money. You know, that's how important it is to do the census to where we can get what we need for federal funding or state funding. But so we'll table that, and we'll put him down for the next council meeting to come and speak on that part. When's that census due in?
I think it's April 30. And the numbers I've heard is that it's about, for every person that's not counted in a town, it can end up costing your town about $1,600 per head.
That's pretty expensive. You take a whole family of seven, it don't fill it out.
Per year.
Not to mention the possibility of losing a
Yes.
state representative or something like
There you
that.
go.
In
Yeah,
Congress.
yeah. I mean, it means a lot having voices in Washington. And we've got people, you know, we've got people that's been there that has really been a good voice for this area, especially the state of Alabama and this.
And then when you go off as mayor trying to recruit retail business to our area, they want to know what your population is.
I mean, it makes a big difference, because, I mean, they base, you know, kind of, we've lost a couple of different chain deals because a population our size didn't do well, and that scares me because of it, you know. And not me, that the cities like people, there's no two people the same, but to me, there's no two cities the same. Now, our population may not be 3,500, but I believe we have enough traffic to satisfy 6,000 or 7,000. You know, we say that we got that, but they don't see it that way. They just look at the numbers that you've got. But yeah, it means a lot. So if you can, you know, focus, you know, people that, you know, you just don't throw it in the garbage, you know, lead them to do it, go the other way and fill out that.
We just got
Sunday to Sunday.
I filled it out about a month ago. Y'all got one? I have. She said you need to call the number and she'd come to the house or fill it out online. She filled it out online. Just about.
Got it in the mail? Got it yet?
That ain't on that other piece of number.
Okay, got it.
No, I'm talking about that.
Yeah, she.
If I did, I could.
That's what I'm letter of. You can call council. We need to give it where you get from
So they just want to know that census just wants to know the population.
Yeah, everybody's fearful that it's gonna, I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but everyby's fearful about financial questions and stuff. That's
There's a
right.
lot of them on there, Tracy. There's a lot of questions on there that Myra, I went in there with her when she found out on the internet. There's a lot of questions in there that ain't really none of their business. I mean,
And I think that's
my
why a
personal
lot of people
opinion.
won't fill it out. I mean,
And-
because it gets too personal. I mean, it, you know.
Just don't fill that part out.
Well,
Just
yeah,
don't fill that part out.
on some of that though, you wouldn't submit it unless you did it.
Required.
You'll have a paper copy come though. You can do it on the paper copy, just fill out the portions you want to fill out.
If there's any way you could talk to them about that.
I wish I had that kind of pull in voice.
You know, yeah, it was based on numbers, it ought to say how many people in your household, you put it out and send it in, what age you are and send it in. I mean,
Yeah.
instead of asking all the, how many cows you got and, what all sources of income you got and different things, I mean, it gets kind of personal. You know,
Real
that
personal.
makes it hard to get people to fill it out, and especially in the rural area. Yeah.
It is, it's how many vehicles you got in your household.
And
Everybody's afraid to set the scam, so many scams out there. They probably think it's a
yeah, that
scam.
scares me. Everybody's got, you need to get
So many scams out there.
Before we go into, mobile business, I need to ask to go into about a 10 or 15 minute executive session to discuss this. Possible. On some land. I need to ask for a motion. Second. All in favor, when you go into executive session for a few minutes. I'm gonna cut it short, we'll be back in just a few minutes. I don't know that we're gonna actually, we're gonna take on the whole business. Yeah, leave, go over to work. Let's see, I'm thinking what else I'm gonna bring up on the ordinance, if I had anything. Mike, you know anything I could set out on that?
The,
Yeah, the gov deals, he brought that in here too a while ago, that was, I just now thought of that. We had the reserve set this time at $1,500 and the high bid was $1,450.
Make a motion, we take it.
I'll second it.
I even got on gov deals place to bid trying to get it on up there.
You didn't win.
I didn't get it.
it'd be deserved, Mayor.
I bid 1,100. No, but I need to see if the council's okay with it. Mike, the people don't have, that next to the one that bid, the highest bid, don't have to take it. Is that right?
Correct.
I don't know why they wouldn't for
Well,
$50.
To tell you how that worked today, but just, TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, they put stuff on there a lot of times. And I bid on a trailer this past go around. It said, when you bid on it, it'll tell you the reserve has not been met. Right. And I didn't meet the reserve, I didn't want to give them no more for it. Well, they sent me a thing, said tap here if you still want this truck. And I hadn't never seen that before, and it's hard to read it, it's in yellow. It wasn't in red or black where it'd be standing out, it's in yellow and you had to focus on it. Well, when you clicked on it, you accepted to take it, but I mean, that, I kind of think they've done that for you, if you clicked it, but anyway, I don't know that anyway, they come back and took it, and that's the same thing we're doing with this truck. You know, I mean, they'll just, will you honor your bid, you still got a chance will you honor your bid. If they don't do it, what y'all gonna do? If they don't honor it, what are we gonna do?
What was the next bid, Mike?
Well, all they give us is the high bid, the $1,450. So I don't know, it's not $25 increments, you got to bid at least in 25. So could have been $1,425, it could have been $1,200, somebody went up $250. Hard to say. We could offer it to the high bidder, and if he doesn't accept it within 5 days, they'll notify us, and we need to put it back out to bid again.
They're at $1,450.
Yeah.
They give us 14 court.
Huh?
You give us 14
I think we need to let him, I mean, we'll keep talking, we'll come back again, and it's not, I mean, it's not really costing us nothing to sit there, it's just we're not being able to turn that over. I guess if y'all okay with it, I'll give him to take and see what he can, see if he can give him the okay to, or maybe the okay, me and Mike to take it if they offer that $1,450. Don't think I've got anything else. Let me see that we need to. Yeah, there's something. Which I've had Heath read. I've had somebody to take. I got to thinking about these two buildings that we've got over here. The old business where we've been talking about the Sewell building, we're talking about the Center of Concern building. We call it the Center of Concern building, but I think we need to quit calling it that because it's not the Center of Concern building. So I guess it was initially, anybody knows a little more history on it.
It was Boy Scout.
Was it the Boy Scout building?
Scout hut and a
And
city
then it was
library.
well, I think it originally was National Guard Army when it was built.
Yeah, at some point it's been 3 or 4 different.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of historic history to it or whatever, and we have talked about before, you know, we agreed, I think, last year sometime to spend a little money on trying to get it, but, and the church was going to try to get a grant, I think, to help with that, or the center of concern, I'm not necessarily saying the church, but the church is involved with it, that's informed that 501 to tax exempt status to try to get a grant to do, and that didn't come through, that didn't work.
Correct.
So we kind of we stalemated with doing anything with that, and the hazards of it has got so bad that the center of concern people has moved out of it. The Kemp Foundation, which I don't know that I've ever mentioned this, because there's so much goes on, but I know y'all know what the Kemp Foundation gives to each, the police department, the street and the park, they give, the Kemp Foundation gives a lot back to the city. The Kemp Foundation has 2 different times and just has the 3rd time give money addressed to me to use how I felt like it needed to be used in the city. They've done it, it's been to $10,000 each time, and it's up to $30,000 now. And I've never had anything that I felt like that we needed to try to use it on. And I got to thinking, and you know, I would like to take it before the council, because the council has to make the decision, but when the Kemp Foundation gives it to me, they address it to me in the letter for me to use how I feel like it needs to be used, whatever. It's up to, like I said, up to $30,000. I'd like to see if the council would be in agreement with me to go ahead on that particular building and do a renovation on that building with that Kemp Foundation money that's been donated to the city.
What's your long term?
So with that facility.
Yeah.
Huh?
Going back with it.
I don't necessarily, I'd leave that up to the council after we restored it. I'd like to, what I'm saying is the outside of the buildings seems to be like it's always been. I'd like for us to take and gut it inside and redo the wiring and the flooring and the ceiling. And if it needs, whatever, if we need to do something with the roof or whatever, we do it. But I would, instead of tearing that building down, I'd like to see us to work with an effort, maybe trying to use that money, maybe getting a historical society involved in it for that building, for that purpose. After that fact, we can decide what we wanted, if we wanted to rent it or lease it or whoever, or whatever. I think that would be, I think I'd rather see us do that is to take that building down. I think we can, I don't think that if we was to let the center back in, if the center was to want to go back in there and we agreed, I don't think that we could have a building built for what it would cost us to renovate that building. I think we could serve 2 different purposes at the same time. I kind of want your thoughts.
My personal feeling is I'd rather spend $5,000 to tear it down. Because, you know, unless you've got something specifically in mind, it's not a very big building, and there's very little parking. You know, you gotta go down in that hole, but that's just my opinion.
You got any thoughts on the trustee or Anthony? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. It's been a subject that we've talked about. We've got an engineer that's looking at both buildings to come back and tell us what it's gonna take to, you know, I feel like that they might, you know, I feel like that there's, you know what, though, y'all remember what this corner was before we renovated and done what we've done down there, and that has really turned out to be a very, that's one of the better things that we've done for those buildings is what we've done down here on this corner. I mean, people come from different places to perform in there and do different things, and I feel like that we can, I don't know that tearing it down is gonna really help us where that's located at for as any kind of parking or anything. It's too close to the ditch. I don't know that taking it down is gonna help us for as the space.
Well, I hadn't talked to Rob, but now the street department, have you talked to him about maybe they could use it or? I hadn't.
That's something I want you to think about. I'll get y'all, you know, it's been up on old business back and forth, but that to give you something that, I mean, I've just been trying to come up with a good solution on that. If I can you know, let y'all get some thoughts on it, we'll bring it back up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have, forgot what that. I believe that's probably, I guess that's all I got. I'm gonna announce this. C3 got an open house. Everyone y'all got one of these mail outs. C3, got a, invitation, which I've been to this, and it's kind of neat to go to this if you get a chance to go to it. So, the Warden Gary Williams and staff invite you to attend the community advisory meeting for Hamilton Work Release. It's on December the 19th, which will be this week. Meeting to take place at the Regional Training Center at Belton Community College on Military Street next to the Wellness Center. Of course, they'll serve refreshments. And it's kind of interesting to see how they handle the work release. If you get a chance, you might want to go to that. They want you to reserve, which we've done missed that date. The RSVP by 12/13. But I don't think there's no problem if you want to attend. If anybody else don't have no old business, I'm going to ask for a motion to go to the next topic. Yes.
I do, clarify the starting pay, the rate schedule on the new hire for the park.
Okay, yeah, we didn't talk about that. Have we discussed that at all?
Starting
I thought we
pay,
discussed it last week when we put it off.
We set starting pay, United Auto Council may have approved, I don't remember.
When we posted it.
And when we posted, but we budgeted $8.50 an hour.
Yeah, that's what we talked
For start pay. But we haven't talked about top out or how that would work for this position.
Is it considered a part-time position?
Yes, sir. The closest from looking at the positions in the city, you got a senior citizen aide that starts at $8.35 and tops out at $10.75.
After how many years?
It'd take them 5 or 6 years. So that's the most comparable
Has a part-
position.
More to talk about that or discuss that?
So we hadn't read till tonight. Really didn't think about, I didn't, the top out.
Let's, we need to probably table that and discuss that.
I remember we talked about $8.50.
Yeah, start out at 850. I think I do remember that.
Yeah.
Start pay started at 850. There's no benefits with part-time. It's 19 hours a week.
I think we budgeted 20 hours, 4 hours a day for 24 week, or 24 payroll. They're off during holidays, and so it's roughly about a month throughout the year total.
We never got anybody to meet the requirements for the government-assisted pay.
No.
If there's, okay, all right, we'll table, we'll discuss
You had
that.
mentioned that at the 20 hours a week, but that don't include what you had talked about when we first posted it about adding on where they would go around and pick up, take them places and things like that. That don't allot for time for that either. Which that would not be every day doing that.
But you, if you left that, if you could still leave that open for that grant money, for that position, couldn't
To do that extra.
if somebody met the requirements. If somebody met the
We could
state,
ever find anybody to make the
I'm
requirement.
talking about if it is
Are
a
you
state,
looking for an additional senior aide?
if you, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you left that open, if you left that open for an application, somebody that could apply that could meet those requirements, and the state pay that, could you use that grant in that position for that extra time? What I'm saying is, could that person, if they met those requirements, we could get that state funding to pay for those people, somebody in that capacity to do that in that position?
For only 4 hours. Like she do her 4 hours and someone else come in and do an additional 2 or 3 hours. a day.
Right, if we had to have. Because what I'm saying is, if you leave that, I ain't saying that you won't ever find nobody, because I had spoke with one, I think one person. I mean, it's hard to believe that you could get anybody that meet them requirements, but there probably would be somebody that might come along that would just fit. What I'm saying is, you can go back and ask for that money in that position, is what I'm saying. I think the council would be okay if it didn't cost us and it covered your extra time. Does that make sense? To hire that other person to get that grant money?
But that, well, we've got to look at that too, that when we're doing that job's only there for 4 years.
State job?
Yeah. Once you do that at 4 years.
Well, I kind of think that'll give us a feel and see how you're developing with that department.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
Full-time later or whatever. Because I'd like to see that grow. I mean, I think.
And we have had, since you would not believe the phone calls I've already made, the people that are already questioning me, when is this gonna start? What is your hours gonna be? How often, that are already questioning us about this. And I've just been telling them we're in the planning stages, give us a few days, give us a few weeks.
We'll look back at that, but we'll get back on the top of it now. If nobody else has got nothing, I need to ask for a motion to pay the bills. Jimmy made a motion, and he said, all in favor? No, and if nobody else has, okay, real quick, like, next council meeting when? First Tuesday.
January 7th.
Huh?
7th.
Seventh, okay, all right, be on the seventh, everybody's good then. All right, I need to ask for a motion to adjourn. All, second. Tim, all in favor?
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.